This is one of the most creative concepts I've come across. It's got everything you need in an anime: emotional music, soaring animation, and unique storytelling. So why does my brain feel so overwhelmed by what I just experienced? In this eerie and supernatural world of Maboroshi, written and directed by the talented Mari Okada, this film promised to take audiences on a journey filled with mystery, emotion, and maybe a touch of magic. However, did it live up to its promises? Well, let's unravel the story and see where it takes us. Set in the quaint steel mill company town of Mifuse in rural Japan, Maboroshi follows Masamune Kikuri, a high school student grappling with the aftermath of a mysterious explosion at the mill. The incident leaves the town isolated from the outside world, frozen in time. As the town's inhabitants cling to a sense of normalcy under the guidance of this crazy nutcase called Mamoru Sagami, the head priest of Mifushi Shrine, Masamune and his friends navigate the surreal reality of their existence. Amidst this eerie backdrop, Masamune discovers a wild girl named Itsumi at the steel mill, setting off a chain of events that unravel the town's secrets and challenge their very perception of reality. Maboroshi sets out with grand ambitions, aiming to explore themes of identity, isolation, and the blurred lines between reality and illusion. Okada's vision for the film is bold to say the least, creating a complex narrative that dances between the mundane and the supernatural. From the hauntingly beautiful visuals to the enigmatic characters, there's no shortage of promise in the world she creates. However, as our journey unfolds, we find ourselves in a puzzle of disjointed scenes and tangled plot points. The story remains intriguing, but you begin to feel a sluggish atmosphere impeding from the background. Its execution left me scratching my head in confusion on more than one occasion. The structure made it difficult for me to perceive what time period certain scenes were set. There were times I couldn't tell if it was the past, future, or present. The storytelling and abrupt shifts in tone can make it difficult to fully immerse oneself in the narrative, detracting from the emotional impact of the story. Maboroshi is a film that oozes with ambition yet bruised by its own complexity. While Okada's direction and the animation is stunning to gaze upon, the film struggles to find its footing amidst a sea of narrative confusion. It's a journey that probably demands multiple viewings to embrace and appreciate the story, but I honestly had difficulty connecting with a lot of the characters, in particular Masamune. There was a lot of exposition which still came across as ambiguous and unclear. The journey of Masamune was not clear and direct. You can have confusing metaphors that don't make sense at first viewing or even second, but as long as you know what the character's goal is, you can follow the story much clearer amidst the chaotic adventures that ensue. To enlighten you into how unclear Masamune's journey is in Maboroshi, I want to compare it to Chihiro's journey in Spirited Away. Her journey is guided by clear objectives and obstacles that she must overcome. From the moment she enters the spirit world, her primary goal is to rescue her parents and find a way back to the human world. Along the way, she encounters various fantastical creatures and navigates through the intricate workings of the bathhouse, facing challenges that test her courage and resilience. Despite the surreal and metaphorical elements of the story, Chihiro's path is well defined, allowing the audience to root for her as she grows and transforms throughout her journey. On the other hand, Masamune's journey in Maboroshi lacks this clarity and direction, especially in the early stages of the film. The narrative meanders through various plot points and character interactions without a clear sense of purpose or progression. Masamune's initial motivations and goals are ambiguous, leaving the audience unsure of what he's striving towards or why. It's only midway through the film, when he decides to protect Itsumi and develops feelings for Mutsumi, that his path begins to emerge. This lack of clarity can make it difficult for the audience to fully connect with Masamune's journey and emphasize with his struggles. Unlike Chihiro, whose journey is driven by her desire to reunite with her family, Masamune's motivations feel somewhat disconnected from the central conflict of the story. While his budding romance with Mutsumi and his efforts to protect Itsumi add emotional depth to his character, they don't necessarily tie into the larger themes of the film in a cohesive manner. The disjointedness can further contribute to the audience's confusion and disengagement from Masamune's journey. The burn-going romance between Masamune and Mutsumi is indeed one of the most compelling aspects of Maboroshi. From their initial interactions marked by tension and dislike to the gradual development of mutual feelings, their love story adds depth and emotional resonance to the narrative. The scene where Mutsumi flashes Masamune serves as a pivotal point, albeit a weird one, injecting a sense of unpredictability and raw vulnerability into their dynamic. It's a moment of intimacy and revelation that sparks a shift in their relationship, setting the stage for their evolving connection. What makes their love story particularly impactful is the reluctance and hesitation on Mutsumi's part. Instead of immediately succumbing to her feelings for Masamune, she grapples with conflicting emotions and a sense of duty towards her adoptive father Sagami. This adds layers of complexity to their romance. As Mutsumi struggles to reconcile her growing affection for Masamune with her loyalty to Sagami and her own sense of identity. However, while the love story between Masamune and Mutsumi is undeniably strong, its potential could have been further amplified by giving it more prominence throughout the film. The narrative becomes bogged down by excessive exposition about the world and its mystical elements, detracting from the emotional core of the story. By shifting the focus more squarely onto the dynamics between Masamune and Mutsumi, the film could have maintained a more compelling and cohesive narrative thread. And introducing tension and conflict between the two characters at various points in the story would have heightened the stakes and added depth to their relationship, rather than simply revealing their connection as husband and wife in the real world as a convenient plot twist. The film could have explored the complexities of their bond and the obstacles they face in embracing their feelings for each other. While the love story between Masamune and Mutsumi is a standout aspect of Maboroshi, it could have been elevated even further by giving it greater focus and development throughout the film. By balancing the mystical elements with a more intimate exploration of their relationship, the film could have delivered a more emotionally resonant and satisfying narrative experience. The alternate world depicted in Maboroshi is indeed shrouded in mystery and ambiguity, leaving audiences grappling with questions and uncertainties about its nature and mechanics. At its core, the world of Maboroshi revolves around the enigmatic figure of Itsumi and the furnace, which seem to hold the key to the town's existence. The dependence on Itsumi and the furnace for the world's continued existence adds an intriguing layer of mythology and mysticism to the narrative, but also contributes to the overall confusion surrounding the film. One of the main sources of confusion stems from the role of the sacred walls and what happens to those who are taken away by them. The film hints at the idea that these walls may serve as guardians or enforcers of the world's rules, but the exact nature of their powers and their connection to the fate of the townspeople remains unclear. Are those taken away by the sacred walls transported to the real world, or do they meet a darker fate? This lack of clarity only adds to the sense of unease and disorientation experienced by both the characters and the audience. The amount of lore and mythology introduced throughout the film can sometimes feel overwhelming and disjointed. While the concept of an alternate world governed by mysterious forces holds much potential, the execution leaves much to be desired. The lore presented in Maboroshi often feels fragmented and poorly explained, leaving audiences struggling to make sense of the rules and logic governing this surreal reality. The world building in Maboroshi does offer glimpses of intrigue and wonder. It ultimately falls short in providing a cohesive and comprehensible framework for the narrative. The abundance of unanswered questions and unclear mythology only serves to further muddle the already convoluted plot, leaving audiences scratching their heads and craving for more clarity and coherence. The music in Maboroshi plays a huge role in shaping the emotional landscape of the film, enhancing key moments and eliciting empathy from the audience. But I should point out that while the music may have been effective in manipulating emotions, it may not have always aligned with the actual emotional depth of the characters and dialogue. Throughout the film, the soundtrack creates an atmosphere of melancholy, mystery, and introspection, complementing the surreal and enigmatic nature of the story. By exploring haunting melodies and emotive themes into pivotal scenes, the music worked to heighten tension, evoke nostalgia, and tug at the heartstrings of the audience. But there's a fine line between enhancing the emotional impact of a scene and manipulating the audience's emotions to compensate for shortcomings in character development or dialogue. In the case of Maboroshi, while the music may have succeeded in creating a sense of empathy towards the characters, it felt quite controlling during the climax of the film. It felt somewhat forced or contrived, particularly if the character depth and dialogue failed to fully support it. The emotional resonance of the music outweighed the actual emotional content of the scenes. It was feeling disconnected, and the music was trying to revive my attention to the character and the emotional depth of their journey. In other words, while the music may have succeeded in creating a specific emotional response, it may not have always been fully earned by the narrative itself. The theme of seizing the precious moments in life and embracing the essence of being alive is indeed a powerful and poignant message that resonates throughout Maboroshi. This central theme underscores the existential journey of the characters as they navigate the surreal and uncertain world in which they find themselves. The film encourages viewers to reflect on the fleeting nature of time and the importance of making the most of every moment, even in the face of adversity and uncertainty. Through the experiences of Masamune, Mutsumi, and other characters, we witness the profound impact of embracing life's uncertainties and seizing opportunities for growth, connection, and self-discovery. However, it may not have been as clearly presented or emphasized as it could have been. The narrative may have benefited from a more explicit exploration of this message, perhaps through more nuanced character interactions and dialogue that directly address the theme of seizing the moment and finding meaning in life's impermanence. The film's focus on family dynamics and personal relationships adds a sense of intimacy and authenticity to the story. It's possible that these elements could have been further developed to create a more grounded and relatable narrative, but it had a chance to delve deeper into the specific struggles, desires, and conflicts of the characters. By exploring these specific nuances, the film could have achieved a greater sense of realism and emotional resonance, reinforcing its central theme in a more impactful way. The animation in Maboroshi by Mappa is undeniably stunning and plays a pivotal role in creating the film's surreal and immersive atmosphere. The visual representation of the fissures and the breaking of the two worlds is indeed a striking image. The juxtaposition of vibrant hues against darker, more ominous tones creates a visually dynamic and emotionally evocative backdrop for the story to unfold. These scenes have the potential to evoke feelings of fear and unease, heightening the emotional impact of key moments in the film. While the animation succeeds in creating a visually captivating experience, it may not always effectively enhance the emotional depth of the narrative. While the animation in Maboroshi is undeniably breathtaking, it's important for it to serve as a complement to the emotional core of the narrative rather than overshadowing or complicating it. By striking a balance between stunning visuals and cohesive storytelling, the film could have achieved an even greater impact, allowing audiences to fully immerse themselves in the emotional journey of its characters. Maboroshi promises a tale brimming with ambition, yet ultimately challenged by its own complexity. Okada created this impressive world that I have come to appreciate, from the haunting visuals to the captivating music. For an overall impression of the film, we are left with a lingering sense of wonder and curiosity, eager to unravel the mysteries that lie beyond the fissures of our imagination.